your family was very supportive.
Yeah. My brother, I told him first, and all of this happened 2 weeks before I actually transitioned full-time on the job. So you can tell how serious I had to make this work. So my brother was the first. He just told me, he said, hey, give me time to adjust. And I'm like, wow, that. And he remembered when we were young that I dressed all the time, even in front of him and stuff like that. And then my dad was the next person that I told. And in 5 minutes, my dad was okay. He just said, who am I to judge? And I elaborated more for another 20 minutes. And my dad said, I just basically said, is there anything else that you want to ask of me? And he said, no, you've answered about everything that I would have asked. He says, I do have one question. And I went, uh-oh, what question is that? And so he goes, are you going to keep your last name? And I said, yeah. And he said, okay. And I was like, cool. You know, that's all he was really wondering and worried about. And my mom, I knew it was going to be a challenge, and I made her the last person to tell. I actually had a couple of my cousins with me, and it went really good. She said she loved me unconditionally and stuff like that. And I was like, okay, this is going pretty good so far. And then I told her what my name was going to be, and something that she had never told me before in her life, in my life. She said, when she was pregnant with me, she said if she had a girl, she was going to name it Karen. And I'm like, oh my God, you know, this is who I am, you know, really. And when I told her my name was going to be Karen, she just like, you know, it was tears from me at that point, because I knew now for sure this is who I really was. With my mom, the next morning, instead of a 180-degree turn, there was a 140-degree turn. So I had another 40 minutes to convince her to understand who I was and stuff, because she was worried about me. And I said, well, I got 40% to work with, you know. And I gave her a bunch of information, a stack of information, like about this much. And so she took all of that and read it within the next few hours. And so she got really excited and a little bit more at ease and calm because of the trainer I was going to have that was going to do the training. And she just started feeling a little bit better. Now my mom, she's my biggest supporter in my family. I mean, my dad's there too, my brother. But my mom, she's not only been supporting me, but she's been very proud of me. And she has seen the people that I've met, the people who I'm working with to try to help our community out. And that's what's really good.
One of the things that you and I both know from time to time is that sometimes families aren't supportive, blood family. Mm-hmm. But the one thing I like to tell folks in transition is you don't always have to rely on the blood relatives to accept you. Find your family elsewhere and find that support so that you can move on.
Right. I mean, I've been very blessed, and I totally get that when I talk to other transgender people in the community at conferences and stuff, because their story isn't the same as mine. I just hope that my story is a little bit of encouragement to them, that they can, you know, go further in life, that they don't give up on life, that, you know, their life is precious. So, you know, a lot of them have lost their spouse, their family, their children, their home, their jobs, their friends. This is the support group that I've got, and I'm happy. And I feel for this, you know. So the only thing I can do is say, hey, look, I'm here for you. If you ever need to call or write to me on my website, please, you know, call or write. And I'll do my very, very best to be there for you. I've done that, and a lot of them understand that now some have called me their auntie. I'm just hoping to never go to grandma. even though I'm 63 years old, I don't want to be called grandma yet.
I feel ya. In the State Guard, have you met others in transition?
Actually, at one of my speaking engagements, I did meet up at Fort Meade, who also was I got back. We've gotten all these different ones here. Fort Detrick, this was going to be somebody who was going to be like the announcer and all that. And she was actually transitioning and stuff, and she actually was in uniform in her Army, her ASU and stuff like that. And I got to tell my story, and of course, I'm sure she was feeling excited and pumped up, and able to come out in front of all of these other soldiers the way she did, being the ceremonial person. So that's the only person I've met that's active who's going through transition. And I think maybe because the year before I spoke at Fort Detrick, they loved my talk and they invited me back the second year, which is when I met this trans person here. So
it's always just one person at a time until we get everybody mainstreamed and ready to go.
Right.
So looking ahead for the next 5 years, you're 63, I'm 64. So we're youngsters.
Yes, we are.
I look at it.
We are.
Where do you see the military being more and more acceptant of all of us?
I think if they just don't listen to people who don't understand us, like 45,
Yeah.
and some of the other people, and get to understand and know who we are and what we do, I think, and they do. Upper command does understand, and that's why they're not really taking it, seems like, full force to honor what somebody wants them to do to get rid of us. They're keeping us on until they absolutely know they have to do it. So, and I think if they just see the good things that, like myself being in, Soldier of the Year, NCO Soldier of the Year, other good things that we're leading by example, they're going to start changing. And I do see some open air in the future. It's just taking longer than we expect. If other countries are doing it, they're accepting it, we do it. We're supposed to be the leader of the world.
Yeah.
I just wanted to say that I'm also part of the Transgender Veteran Support Group. It's a national group. We have 25 chapters around the world. We also have one up in Canada that's 100% active transgender members in the group. So they're actually active members and I'm the president of the chapter for Maryland. And Paula Redding, she's the one who's the founder and she's the president of the entire organization, but she's also running a chapter in front for the one in Texas. So Texas does have a support group for the transgender people there. And we usually go by TVSG, and like I said, it stands for Transgender Veteran Support Group.
You know what would really be nice? Fort Bliss has just a core of soldiers themselves at 35,000. We're not even talking about the families. We're not even talking about the peripherals. It's just Bliss itself has this enormous population. And what I'd love to be able to do, not that you brought it up, is to be able to create an arm of that Texas support group here in El Paso, because not only would we have this, but then we have New Mexico, we have Holloman Air Force Base, we have White Sands Missile Range, and there's a whole lot of us all over the place that just needs support in some form or another. I understand that it's coming here to this region. That's a good thing. I just want to be able to forward that progress.
Yeah. Well, what I'll do is I'll put you in touch with Paula Redding. Like I said, she's the president, and she'll be glad to work with you. And we've got a really good support group.
Okay. Cool. On a personal note, how do we go about getting someone to teach us how to put our face on so it doesn't take like so long.
Wow. It's funny because everybody's always talking about that I do such a good job on my makeup. It takes me back to when I was younger, before I transitioned full time. And here again, not knowing that I was transgender, but I always watched and folk women all the time and looked at their makeup, how they did it, how they did their hair, stuff like that. Not here again, not knowing that I was transgender. And it's funny because a really good friend of mine who passed away, we started off as co-workers, brother and sisters, and then sister and sister, and then she passed away. They always harp on me about, you're always gulping at women. And after I transitioned, I said, remember when you used to always say that to her? She goes, yeah. Well, I wasn't doing that. I was really studying them. And she goes, now that makes sense. And that's basically how I did. I just, watched other women. I looked at their makeup and stuff and how they might have done it. And then I just applied it to my own life. But my understanding, which I haven't done yet, is there's a lot of makeup tips on YouTube and stuff like that, how to do it. But yeah, I think I have done pretty decent.
You look marvelous. I'm here to tell you, I wish I had your eyelashes. I tried gluing them on there and they looked like bats. I think I chose the wrong size.
Well, these are my own. It's just mascara.
Wow.
And there are days when I wake up and they're like kind of shorter or whatever. And just applying the mascara that brings it out more and more. And you just have to really pick and choose what's good for you. And I've got one girlfriend who's a genetic, she's a cisgender, and it's funny because I haven't seen her yet. She just said, hey, I got her some mascara, and I got one for you too. And I said, oh, okay. But she's that good of a friend, and actually I don't even look at her as a friend anymore. She's my sister. So she'll help out a little bit. I got some makeup, you might want to try this or that, even though I'm applying it myself, but she's helping me as far as providing. So that's good.
Any last words? Anything that I didn't touch on that maybe we need to talk about?
I think, well, let me go and say one thing, because which is another thing I had to change in my speaking engagements and stuff, is because a lot of things that I talk about are all positive, but yet there are so many negative things that happen for some of our girls, especially that are sex workers. Some do it, which I had to realize a little while ago, and there are some that want to get off the streets. They want to, have a home. They want to have a job. And right now, last year we had a couple of girls that were murdered in Maryland, the Fairmont Heights area, and one was murdered. The major for that district police station, look, I'm tired of playing this ping pong game back and forth with DC police, because the street that they happen on is right on the borderline of DC and Maryland. So she said, I don't want to arrest the girls because all they're going to do is end up back out on the street. Would you like to help? And I said, absolutely. It's not in the county I live in, but I want to be able to reach out to all of them. And so right now, once to twice a month, I ride around. It's a ride-along volunteer. And when we come up on some of the girls that are sex workers in the area, I will get out of the cruiser, go up and talk to them, say, hey, my name is Karen. Is there anything we can do to help you get off the streets and stuff like that? And we're hoping to start up like a job fair type thing where we can help them with resumes, and also sit across the table from each other and do job interviews, role playing to get them perked up. And then I'm also trying to maybe work with Goodwill places or Salvation Army that we donate clothes to them. How about donating some clothes to these girls? If we give you a flyer saying that they're from our organization, to give back to the community. So that's what I'm working on as well. But I think, for all of us that are, and when I use the word veterans. I'm not really using the word veterans in the military. I'm using the word veterans in our community. Help the other ones along, reach back. A lot of people keep saying to me, why do you keep, advocating for us or doing this? And, you're fully transitioned, you're a woman now. And I go, yeah, but you know what? One thing I'll always say is never forget where you come from. I want to reach back and help the next person along to say, hey, this is how I did it. And now you can pick and choose what you want to use in your life, and let's see if you can go further too. And not give up on life. For we're not what you see on Jerry Springer show. We are firefighters, we're military, we're police, we're judges, politicians, actresses, we're doing great things out there. So just listen to our story and you'll find a different avenue.